What is up, my beautiful people? We're going to do a little podcast style revelation here. Um, I've been getting the same things over and over again. Um, Read some books, and I read books and then align with scripture. I like to read scripture every single day, right? These Bible stacks that I've shared with you guys have been revolutionary for me in my walk with Christ because it's a different perspective than I had before. I used to consume the Bible stacks, make it about the consumption, the communion, but then the action, right? If you want to be successful in business or in life, in your marriage, in your health, it's not about the knowing, it's about taking the wisdom and applying it. It's the application, it's the doing that gets the results in the world, right? So, like, we have this connection with the Spirit, but if we don't do anything with it, we don't bring heaven into earth, we don't manifest, we don't create anything. So, there's this pairing of wisdom and revelation with action, faith and works together. They talk about in the Bible, those two pieces come together. And so, I love these Bible stacks because it's about action, right? And I was missing the action. I'd sit here all day. I've shared that with you. So this revelation that keeps coming up, and I want to kind of read some of the stuff that came up for me, but it's about prosperity, and it's about abundance, and it's about the spiritual warfare. So this tune in spiritual warfare. If you listen to a lot of my stuff, I was a fighter. Still consider myself a fighter. Still throwing down with the boys, a little grappling. Might like getting punched in the face, but this analogy of this wrestling and this war, that's what spoke to me. The spiritual warfare, the spiritual game. And lately, these last couple sessions and this last week, God's been showing me that's not really accurate anymore because there was a spiritual war, right? And there has been a plan from the beginning. There is a plan, right? There's a big, we're the way I look at it is like we're in a giant simulation, right? It's like a big video game. God created this entire game. We're all pieces of God. We come down into this. We have a soul. We experience, and then we go back up and be one with God. However you want to look at that from a religious perspective, that's just how my brain rationalizes it. There's a big God energy. We come down, we have a little God piece of us, we interact, we experience. That's our game, right? We go back up. I don't know, without getting too weird, heaven, hell, all that different stuff, and God as a person, and like I don't know. I don't claim to know everything or even anything, but this is just my interpretation, my experience. I do believe the person of Christ, the person of Jesus Christ, did live as an actual real person, and that was part of the entire big plan. I feel like there was that him bridging the gap for us to have access to God. I feel like that's only through Christ. So I'm not one of these spirituality. Everybody's all going. We're all the same. Religion wise, I'm like, if you don't understand that this Christ bridge happened, then I don't know that. To me, that's the differentiator, right? There's this grace piece and this component that we all have access to God without having to do anything. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about today is this game of spiritual warfare, but the battle has already been won. So we're already living in a state of abundance and freedom, and heaven on earth can be brought through us if we bring Christ through us. That power of talking to God and creating and manifesting out into this real world through the power of the Spirit, which we all have access to from Christ. That just requires us to have a simple decision and a discussion, and then to take action. And so it's not this wrestling match or this fight to get things to flow from heaven to earth anymore. It's just obedience. It's just simple. And so the analogy or the story that God's been sharing with me is like, you're in prison and it's like you're opening a doorway, and then you walk out, and on the other side is freedom, right? Whereas before it was like, I thought you had to like fight by the guard to get like Christ already did all that. He already took care of all that. And so we know he wins. So now if we feel like there's something in the way blocking us from this opening door, we just call on him, call on his power, and boom, 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 it's out the way. Like, it's simple. There's not like a fight that has to happen. What does happen is we still have the same hardware that we've had since humans have been alive. That hardware has a mind, it has an ego, it has pride. And the devil's only weapon or ways that he can work against Christ is through deception, through illusion, through lies. The lies have no power if you speak truth. If you use love and truth, the lie has no power. But if we don't use love and truth, the lie has power. The lie can manifest. And so the fucked up thing is that we can create this whole reality based on lies, based on, believing something to not be true. And because of the hardware in our body that we believe the lie, our body will physically respond in a way as if that was true. So we're living in a place where we could have freedom and abundance, but we're choosing less, and that's our reality. But we don't have to. We could literally choose freedom and abundance. We could literally choose to step out of the scarcity, the fear of the pit, but that would require us to recognize that we're living a lie, acknowledge that, and then decide not to live that lie anymore. And the way that our minds and our egos and our pride work is that sometimes we'd rather stay in the prison than we would to walk out because we don't want to be wrong. There's fear of what is on the other side. What if it's not better? What if this freedom and this truth isn't better? Or we make up reasons that there's things preventing us from doing it. Like I said, how many years did I live thinking that I couldn't just turn this door handle open? Thought that there was this huge monster. Yeah, I might be able to open it, but if I do, I'm going to get devoured. I'm going to get killed. Like, who knows what's out there? So scary, right? So our own bodies, our own defense mechanisms, our own hardware is fighting against us. It's not fighting against us. It's just doing its job. It's trying to keep us, quote unquote, safe. But like I said, the war's already been won. Perspective shift, truth. This is the gospel. Once you know that, and then you still continue to live in prison, it's silly, right? It sounds silly. But if you don't know that, if nobody's shared that perspective with you, that's just what you know. So you stay there and you stay in the prison, and that's just your normal. And it's not that bad, right? Our prisons of comfort, our prisons in this modern age, this world that we live in, it's like, it's not that bad. Comfort is the enemy of growth. And so by us refusing to accept truth, which is painful, right? Because we have to admit that we're wrong. We're admitting that this isn't all we could live up to, and then that we have to die to that person. Then we can accept the climb to the peak. It's that pain. We have to be willing to overcome that pain, or to experience that pain, to go through that pain and that death in order to ascend to the next level. And so what did I get today? So that was number one. And then the second piece of it, this is what I wanted to share with you guys today. That's just kind of the backstory. But here's the true lesson. We're really all one body, right? Every body is a part. Once Christ came and gave us all grace, it's like we all have access. Some of us choose to reject it. Some of us say, no, absolutely not. I'm going to cut myself off from the body, and that's fine. But all it takes is a decision to be back part of the body. So essentially, we're all part of the same body. And especially if you're yoked with someone, I'm talking marriage here, I'm talking family, I'm talking people you work with, there's somebody within your close quarters. They're part of your body, right? And a lot of those people may be annoying to you. They may be frustrating to you. They may be a thorn in your side. But God doesn't make mistakes, right? He made this body, and this body is perfect, right? So just imagine your own physical human body. Like, right, you have a foot, you have a liver, you have a kidney. They all do different things. He didn't give you a bunch of extra stuff that doesn't do anything. Everything has a purpose and a use. And if every piece is healthy, then your body thrives, right? And so if you think that I don't really need that foot, this foot is so stupid, I'm just going to chop it off. And now you have to go through life with one foot. Like, think how much more challenging your life would be. If I believe the lie that my foot is a problem and I cut it off and now I have to live life with one foot. If I believe that, you know, say my liver is giving me issues, right? And they're like, just cut that thing out. Meanwhile, I'm just chugging, alcohol, and I'm just chugging it until, my liver's like freaking giving me problems. It's swollen, it's blowing up, and it's like, oh, this stupid liver. Like, why would, like, what? I don't even need this liver. This liver's ruining my life. And I'm not recognizing that, like, I'm chugging this poison that's causing the liver to swell and give me issues and malfunction, and that's what's causing the health issue. And I just try to remove the liver. Like, think about that analogy. Think about chiropractic and how if this nerve that runs through this neck is getting pressure from this, bones pressing on it, and it leads to this muscle or this organ, right? My shoulder is dead or can't lift my arm, but it's really this C5 or C7. The vertebrae is pushing on the nerve in that spot where there's no space, and now that's like caused my arm. Imagine if I just cut my arm off. Imagine if I didn't go and say, all right, God, like, let me move this restriction. Let me get this thing moved out of the way so it takes the pressure off the nerve and letting the nerve go do its job, and then the arm can move fine. So how many times in our life are we not focusing on edifying or building up the different parts of our body or the people in our life? These are our other body parts, right? Our other people, our spouse, our kids, our coworkers. And we just try to cut them off, try to cut them out. And so it's like, even if I don't know how to fix this shoulder, I don't know that it's my neck because I'm just a human. I don't know the human body. Like, for me, I've studied this for 20 years. I've worked with chiropractors and PT, so I might know, but Joe Schmo that's never done anything physical might not know that. But we all have access to the Spirit, and the Spirit knows you have infinite wisdom tapped into, and it's about the way that you pray. And if you are praying for edification and you're praying for, how do I heal? What is going on in the body? Maybe what's going on with me? What am I doing that's causing the pain? What else can be changed? How else can I strengthen and edify to get this shoulder healed? And then the Spirit's like, dude, it's your neck. Go see this guy. He'll crack it, pop, 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 boom, and it'll take the pressure off. You're good. Or it might be, like with the liver thing, dude, like, Spirit, like, my liver, like, I'm about to cut this thing out. I fucking hate it. I can't stand it. He's like, bro, you're fucking chugging a bottle of vodka a day. That's you. Stop chugging the vodka. Liver's going to be happy and healthy. Oh my God. Like, you get these revelations. So how can you apply that to your family? How can you apply that to your coworkers? How can you apply that to your clients? How can you apply that to your spouse, right? What do they need to thrive? And am I doing the things? And if I don't know, that's okay. You don't have to know, but you have to ask. That's part of that humbleness, that taking a knee, that willingness to die, because it's going to require you to be obedient to get the blessing. So now if I get instructions and I don't follow them, I'm not being obedient, then there's no blessing. But if I get prompted to take action and I actually do take action, then I'll receive the blessing from that action, right? So what if that action requires me, let's just go back to the liver one, to stop drinking alcohol, but that's all I know. I love it. Like, how could I possibly not chug this bottle of vodka? The fucking liver needs to figure out how to filter better. That's on him. I'm going to keep chugging this shit. You're not going to be blessed. You have to take the action. It always comes back to that personal responsibility. What am I going to do? And if I'm getting prompted and I'm getting wisdom, obedience, and then I apply that, it requires me to accept that new truth, that new perspective, take new action, die to the old version of myself, right? Die. The person that didn't know better, I have to die to that person. I have to be this new person. Well, the new person focuses on health and drinks coffee and water instead of 12 ounces of vodka to start my morning. that person is much more better for the other parts of the body. So now I've taken my organ, my piece, whatever like contributing factor I am to the big greater body of whole, and now I've made myself stronger. I've made myself healthier, and I've started to shift how I interact in the body as this healthy organ, and now that allows the other organs to be healthy. We're all responsible for our role inside of the body, but the mindset and the shift that others are on the same team as us and are going the same direction and are in fact responsible for their part to help us to thrive, right? Because we're all in this together, then it helps me to look at them with a new perspective. So hopefully that makes sense. Project Unshakable, Coach CK, another episode in the books. Really happy to be back on the mic talking about this kind of stuff, and hopefully you get some value in it. If you do, like, share, subscribe, share it with some of your other dads. Have them join our Unshakable Fathers School Group. That's the new spot where we are building a community of men who are not willing to tolerate mediocrity. They're not willing to tolerate not living to the highest calling that God's called them to. And it's a tribe that I'm super proud of. These are men that are, I think, taking on the hardest job in the world, which is the trifecta of insanity, as Garrett calls it. It's marriage, it's raising kids, it's running a business. You throw in being healthy in there and staying physically fit. Like, you throw those four things in there together, you need the God piece. You need the God power to stay on top of the game, to keep your soul progressing. And so that's just the game, man. And if that's your game and you want to play it, not a better place. I've got a ton of dudes in there that are like-minded that want to win that game. It's a different game. It's not the game the world's playing. It's not stack cash and fuck everybody else. It's not, what's best for me. It's how do I fit into the bigger picture? How do I, yes, be the best version of myself so that I can serve the greater good, right? That's a different game. So, all right, man. I love you guys. Let's have an awesome day.